device. Yes, there we go. Okay, I've got some power to the microphone. Well, I don't know how much of that was actually recorded. Hopefully everything, but I'm actually not sure. Welcome to live chat. Remember, you two got okay. Well, I don't know how much of that was recorded and how much wasn't, but you know, this is a test, so it's one of those things that, yeah, like I say, I used to do a live show and I'm a bit out of practice, so I probably should have checked whether or not there was sound. Normally, though, on my live shows, people would tell me whether or not there was any sound. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I should go live on my other channel. Don't know. Yeah, maybe I will do that. Let's see. I think I'm going to give it about half an hour, and if that doesn't work, then I'm going to get up, go for a bit of a walk, and then come back on the other channel. That'd be fun. Okay, so all I'm doing at the moment is daisy chaining the chock blocks together. The reason is, and I'll show you as I'm doing it actually. The reason is because I want everything to have a joint power in and a joint power out. So all I do, and don't worry about the colours here, it's only for me. Normally these would all be the same colour, but I only have a fairly limited amount of this stuff. So this one links to this one, links to this one, all the way through. Basically, what that means is that that's a single power bar. So whenever I want to connect anything, I just connect in here and they'll all be connected to the same thing, ultimately. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's not very pretty. It's not very interesting, but also I thought it was kind of important that I do that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. It just sort of sets us up nicely for the next bit. And the next bit is kind of the cool bit, I think, because I've got this sort of working before. So the whole idea, for those of you who didn't hear, or if you've only just joined, is that I'm making a smell caster machine. Now, a smell caster, it's a term that I invented. I think I coined it anyway. It's a way of casting smells around a space using compressed air and a bit of tech wizardry, I suppose. And it's called the Smellcaster because it's for my Magical Man Cave, which is the channel you're on right now. So the whole idea really is that I'm going to connect it to my smart home. It's going to blast out smells in conjunction with storytelling. So it's going to be linked together with something called TML, which is Trigger Markup Language. My name is Neil Trigger, so I thought Trigger Markup Language sounds quite good. But also, it's not just because of my surname, it's also because it is a smart home triggered thing. In other words, it actually gets triggered by my smart home. So if the door opens, I can freshen the place up. I could potentially even link it up to a VOC monitor device. So VOC stands for Volatile Organic Compound, and it's things like, you know, bad smells, or dare I say it, farts, things like that. You know, it can detect, and potentially, if the VOCs go too high, it could blast something out to smell nice. The only problem with that is that the VOCs, the volatile organic compounds, could also be the smells themselves, so it might get stuck in a loop if I do that. So I'm going to think about how to get over that. But if I could make it actually sniff, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. I do have one more piece of cable here, so I'll just twist that one. I thought that was my imagination, but I can hear fireworks. I did wonder what that was. I thought, okay, let's go quiet and see what happens. Hopefully you can't hear that on the microphone too much. You might well be able to, but right, that one goes in there. It does require a bit of brain power every now and then. I'll try and keep on talking as much as I possibly can, but every now and then I think I might just need to go a little bit quiet, just so I don't mess things up. Now, the good thing about this, because it's so low voltage, I'm not going to do any damage to anything or anyone. This is 3.5 volts, so it's like really, really low. Even if I licked this thing, which I'm not going to do, but even if I did, it probably wouldn't even tingle. I probably wouldn't even notice. So it's really, really low voltage. Obviously, if you're going to do anything like this with high voltage, or higher voltage, maybe think about whether or not that's a good idea. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm just going to tell you, think about it. Because, to be honest, I'm not going to take responsibility. I'm going to allow Darwin to do that for us. Let's put it that way. Because I sometimes think all this health and safety nonsense, just let Darwinism take over and survival of the fittest. Do not dive into a crocodile-infested swimming pool. If you need a sign for that, you've got bigger problems. Do you know what I mean? So, I try not to... I try not to baby people too much. You're all adults. And if you're not, you shouldn't be watching this stream, because I did mark it as not suitable for children. That doesn't mean that I'm going to start swearing a lot, by the way. It's a fairly family-friendly show, but just in case. I also discovered, I think it was it this morning or yesterday? Can't remember. Slept since then. I had a bit of a splinter in my finger. I think it was this morning, actually. Had a bit of a splinter in my finger. And the problem is with doing things with this, and it's a fairly sort of small gauge wire. The strands on it, they're also metal, obviously, because they kind of need to be. But they're very, very fine. And because I'm trying to sort of bend them back with my finger, it can lead to quite a lot of pain. Oh well. Right, how long have we been online then? Let's see. Nope, can't see that. Right, let's give it until 8 PM, and if no one's come online, I might go on the other channel, just see if we can get a bit more engagement. And if we do, that channel is called Real Wizardry. Please join me over there. I've got about 15,500 subscribers over there at the moment. It'd be lovely if you can join me. On that channel I deal with things like witchcraft and some of the more spooky elements, I suppose. Magical Man Cave is a bit more family friendly. I mean, neither of them are particularly bad for that. Even when I talk about, ritual sacrifice, I don't go into huge amounts of detail. But yeah, Real Wizardry is kind of a catch-all for everything, really. And I guess maybe that's why people like it. Okay, so this block now is complete. All of those are daisy chained together, which basically means I can just start plugging these things in. And it's kind of agnostic to what I'm going to be using it for. So I do have another couple here. Some of them are wired up. And if I show you this as well, I think this is probably going to be quite groovy. What am I doing here? No, that's... Ooh. Okay. Alright, so yeah, if I show you this, let's go here. Is that going to work? It doesn't look like it's going to work. No, that didn't work at all. That was rubbish. Okay, what am I trying to do here? Okay, so that's the wrong one. Let's try... yeah, let's try this one. Okay, so what we're going to do, just ignore that. Let's go into my Home Assistant server. Right, now this is the control unit for the Smellcaster at the moment. So what we've got black cherry, freshly baked bread, hot cocoa, leather, old books, orange blossom, ozone, peppermint, pumpkin spice, rain, wet dog, and wood fire. And if I click on one of these, at the moment nothing happens because it's not wired up properly. So what I'm going to do, each of these I do know is actually doing something. So if we go over to the Raspberry Pi output, which is still connecting, please hold. This is the Raspberry Pi, so this is kind of the brains of the Smellcaster, and the reason it was disconnected actually was because I disconnected the power, so duh. That's probably one of the reasons why it's not working. So we then type in Python, which is a command to start Python, which is a programming language, and then we go smellcaster.py, enter, and then this is like the output of everything. So this is sort of what it's being told to do, I suppose. So this is the date and the time, and then GPIO 17, that's the pin on the Raspberry Pi motherboard. Set at low, which means it's off. The smell black cherry is off. So that's what it'll do. Then if I go over to, let's see if I can do both at the same time and then show you sort of what's going on. Let's do that. So if we say black cherry, click on that one, and then, yeah, it's not going to be able to do it both at the same time unless I do this. There we go. Right, let's try and show you at the same time then, shall we? Let's do this. So what we do, we click on, let's say, wood fire, and what will happen over here is it will start pumping out some code, and I'll explain what happens in a second. So you click on it, it says the date, the time, and it says GPIO 25 set high, which basically means turn it on. The smell is wood fire, and it's been on for 1 second. Now the reason for that is that when I click on this, it sends something called an MQTT message, which stands for message, oh god, what does it stand for? Message quantifier text. I don't know why I said what it stands for, because actually I don't know what it stands for, but basically it is a text thing that goes from one place to another. So the computer that I'm on at the moment, I'm streaming from, is displaying this thing, but this is actually being served by my Home Assistant server. So that one's downstairs. It's again another Raspberry Pi, it's a fairly small thing. And what I do then is I click this, which then sends a signal over my network to say someone's clicked on this button. The server downstairs then sends a message to my network as a whole saying wood fire 1 second. And this Pi then just works out that it said that, and it then does all of this stuff, clever stuff in the background. It basically sort of says, oh, okay, I understand that you've said wood fire 1 second, so let's turn it on for 1 second. Then the script that I've written takes again the time, GPIO 25, which is the one that was for wood fire, set low. So it turns it on for the duration of time that I tell it to turn it on for, and then it turns it off. So that's what it does. At the moment, like I say, it doesn't do anything really. It sends the signal, but it doesn't really do anything. So what I need to now do is to connect the power, which is down here. I know, it's not very exciting. I need to connect these to one of the lines on one of the power bricks, basically. So these things that I've created here are now essentially power bricks. So I should just be able to do a jumper line from one of these into one of these, and the whole thing should work. That's the hope. So I have prepared somewhere, can't remember where, I have prepared a wire. Where did I put that? Interesting. Ah, there we go. So I've prepared this one before. So all I need to do is to find the red wire coming out of the power, which is just there. Chuck that in there. I might actually double that one up just to make sure that there is a decent contact. And this is where I got the splinter from before. I was doing all this doubling up, and I think I pressed a little bit too hard and broke off a piece of metal inside my finger, so that kind of hurts. Hurts even now, but never mind. Okay, and then clip that one tight, and then go over here to where all of the power units are, and connect them all back together again. So these ones come to there. And the problem is now it's a little bit, what's the right word? Messy, I suppose. Messy is the only real word for it. Yeah, it's quite messy. But never mind, that's all right. It's not the end of the world. So what I need to do is to link it up with this, which will then provide power to this unit, and then we'll take all of the power lines for all of the solenoids, and then I should be able to power, in theory, should be able to power 11 solenoids from one block, because one of them is going to be the master power, which is for the solenoid input power. And I also need to do one for the output power as well, actually. I don't know whether I've done that yet, but we can test it in a second. Cool, it's a bit warm in here now. It wasn't actually this warm when I first joined here, so if I turn on the air conditioning and it starts getting too noisy, can someone tell me? Okay. Let's just turn on the office aircon. Let's get it down to 21. Okay. Not 21 Fahrenheit, that would be bonkers. It's Celsius in this country. Okay, so we've got the power in. Now we need the power out, which is the ground line or the earth line. But also, I just want to see whether we can get all of the power ins, or the positive terminals, connected. Now something really weird happened actually when I was wiring this up earlier. I did a very basic wire, and it was really, really messy when I did that. Goodness me, that was awful everywhere. There was no organisation to it at all. Whereas this, I think, will provide me with a bit more clarity over what's going on. But what was weird was I didn't connect a full circuit. Anyone who knows anything about electronics should know that you need a full circuit for it to work. And for some weird reason, it was still working even though there wasn't a full circuit, which just boggled me a bit. I wasn't quite sure what was going on there. But yeah, there we are. Right, I need to make sure that I get the right side of this thing, which is the opposite side of the solenoid. We need power in there. Okay, that's all good. See, this is the bit where I'm talking about sometimes I'm going to get confused, sometimes I'm going to need to talk to myself and maybe not talk to you so much. That's kind of what I mean. Because sometimes I am going to need to like work out that, you know, am I being an idiot here? I need to work out how to do it properly. So I don't think I'm being stupid. And it's not likely to blow up, but it is likely to, if I get this wrong, if I get this wrong in particular because the voltage is slightly higher, it could cause some problems. So I need to make sure that I don't accidentally run 24 volts directly through my Raspberry Pi, because that would be bad. Okay, so that's all the positive wires. Now I need one for the negative block, and I think we're then good. So what's that? That's okay, so that's the negative block. Ah, cool. I've done that already. That's all. That's useful. And then where's that go? That one goes off to there. Okay, great. So all I need now is just one more wire, in theory, and everything will work. Yay. So first things first then, I'll explain also how it all works in terms of the compressed air line just after I've done this. So if that's something you want to watch, hang on. I feel like I'm a bit of clickbaity. 7 minutes and we still don't have a viewer. That's rough, dude. I'm hoping this is a public stream. I think it is. I'm just going to disable that one. There we go. And go back here. There we are. Yeah, let's have a look. Are we... I think we're public. Yeah, we are. Okay. So there's no excuse for you not to watch. Okay, so we've got the live wire. Then I've got this thing here. I'm just going to strip off a little bit of the cable sleeve, like that. This tool, by the way, I'd highly recommend it to anyone doing this project. If you plan on replicating what I'm doing, slightly egocentric of me, but if you do want to do what I'm doing, please use one of those tools because it's going to save you a huge amount of work. Alright, so there's that end, and this one. Right, where do we go? So we go from here, that's the negative terminal, and then that one goes into here. Huh, where does that go? No, that does not go there. No, Neil, don't do that. That'll blow everything up. That goes into there instead. Right, cool. Oh, there we go. Don't know if you can hear that click, but that's... But yeah, that's exactly what we want. Okay. Or at least I think it is. I think it is. Because we do have a whole bunch of stuff connected there. Okay. Is that... Yeah, okay. I think I know what's happened there. But we'll see. Either I've done everything right, or I've done something pretty bad and just popped something. But we'll proceed anyway, in the hope that I haven't absolutely just wrecked it. Let's see how it goes, I suppose. Alright. And if you are there, say hi. Right, let's go back to Home Assistant. Click on this one, and it worked. Hooray. Let's do wood fire. That's good. And freshly baked bread. Okay, good. Cool. So the only things that I now need to do is I need to connect this one up. Where is that one going then? That's interesting. Oh, okay. Right. So I need to do this one for that one. And connect that one up. And actually my timing is not too bad because we've got 3 minutes before the deadline that I set myself of 8 PM. And if no one has come on, I will switch over to my other channel, which is Real Wizardry. So if you're watching this and you are enjoying this, then by all means go over to Real Wizardry, where I will continue. And I will keep on connecting everything up. But for now, I think that's pretty much good. I'm going to just click on this one, which should, in theory, it should turn on at least a light, which it does. And then if I click on that one, that does that. And if I click on that one, it does that. Right, now why is Woodfire still not working? as it should do. Oh, okay, well that'll be why. It's because it hasn't got any power. So we then go back here to this one, where I'm clearly connecting something wrong. Oh no, I'm not. What was that? Oh, that was the air conditioning blowing some paper off, which made it go. Right, if I click on this one, not click on, what am I talking about? If I connect that one to there, which is then connected to there, right, I'll screw that one together. Now, in theory, that's all I need to do to have all three connected. So if I click this button, it'll go click. It does, yay. So that's me done with about 30 seconds to spare. I'm pretty good at timings like this, actually. So if you do want to watch my other live stream, I'll be over on Real Wizardry in about 5 minutes, however long it takes me to have a pee. Thanks very much for watching. If you do watch, if you don't watch, then you won't be listening to this announcement. But thanks very much for watching. I will see you again next time with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always, stay magical.